Good morning, everybody. I'm back with another Beasts Evolved video. I'm sorry for the delay. I got my teeth out, so ever since that happened, I've been just, taking it easy, not been able to talk a lot. So bear with me if I can't talk very much, or, I have a little bit of difficulty communicating. But yeah, so as you can see, Hype got released. It's pretty good. Gives you some shards. For those rare births. But yeah, this is just kind of an update for my day 3, or I guess 3rd week, I don't know, of Lollerskates. We can check how long I've been playing actually. Let's see what I get here. Oh, not bad. That was actually, on this you want to either roll this one, which, I mean, doesn't matter if you're free to play. 5 mutates are the best out of the 3 spores. 100 gems is pretty good, or 300k gold is also pretty decent. So those are like the good things. But yeah, let's see. So this is my day 17. So I've been playing for a little bit over 2 weeks, as you can see. I've hit level 55. I do have the monthly bonus, right? So that's why I have this now. So I mean, I dropped like $5. It's not that big of a deal. But yeah, as you can see, I've got during the event that was just going on, I went and got Lacrima, so I will be awakening Ultimus soon. And yeah, so I guess yeah, this is just kind of an update, and I'll go through replays on a lot of the hard stages that I did, because I did save a lot of those instead of making it an individual video for all of them, because really, like, the early game goes so fast it doesn't even really matter. As you can see, I maxed Sloth's level 2 skill first, and Death Star's level 1 skill first, and then I got this one out. Next, I just recently got Daylight, and on my level 55 I rolled a Vulcan, so I was pretty happy with that, but he's pretty much useless. Right now, Turner's still a better option, even without any skills investment. Yeah, it's, so that's where I'm sitting. I'm around 35k power, give or take, based on, who I'm using. As you can see, I have a rank 7 Astra. You just make sure to keep doing your bushes around every day, and make sure to capitalize on people who are trash, and using, not Ultimus, because they're not very smart. I guess, yeah, that's always a good thing. As you can see in Pillars, oh man, I dropped to 7. Oh, but that's because people already did their fights. Yesterday I was number 2, but whatever. Yeah, I'm not doing anything too crazy, right? Every day I'm buying, my stamina up to 11, I think, so that's 25, 25, 50, 50. My exclusive deals, I haven't really needed this because I haven't been wasting my gold. For glyphs, I'm around rank 6s, right? I got 1 rank 7, but all the rest are, working on rank 6s and 5s. Nothing too crazy. Just a basic composition. I wasted a whole bunch of gems on Evo spores, because, I mean, I need those. So, every day doing once or twice refresh on this one for 11 is worth it, because once you beat number 3, it basically becomes worth it. Hopefully I'm going to be, a little bit harder on my stages soon. I haven't really tried a lot yet, but I guess, yeah, the point of this video is more of a catch-up. It's a gem lust, so I'll have to do those. I guess I have to roll a new fossil. But yeah, I'll go over my replays on a lot of those harder stages. Yeah, nice. Divine Spores are always good because they're hard to farm. Interesting. 29. But yeah, if you look at your replays, fuck, somebody messaged me. yeah, if you go all the way down, I've saved quite a few of them, as you can see. Now, I know I did get a little bit lucky, but you know, that's alright. Not a huge deal. Scars of Time. You know, this is me beating Sloth. So this is how I beat level, what, 124? It's not too bad, as you can see. This has, you know, I basically stomped him, or maybe is this the one that I lost? I think I used Berserk. It was really important to use a ton of tanks. No, this is the one I win. Yeah, so as you can see, there's a detonate there. If you look at details, Ultimus was basically everything. You know, my Astras. Kirin's really important. I had rank 4 Kirin, rank 2 Genbu, right? And I used a Suzaku rank 0. But yeah, I guess you can. We'll go over it one more time. So I waited until this guy was about to proc, right? 3, and then I used it right on the 4 before he could attack. So then mine went off. I silenced it, lowered their haki, right? Then these guys are basically just pounding, pounding, pounding. And because he used it so close to 5 seconds, this guy procs around 8.5 seconds, the Sloth. So it silenced him too. Then you had to basically ride out the damage that they were dealing. And then, you know, use Suzaku, but it doesn't really matter. Mainly because the Kirin is so important. The first Kirin, if you use it at 4 seconds, it'll stop the Sloth proc, and then if you use it the second time, it'll stop the Sloth proc again, which really helps. So yeah, that was, I guess, my first big important replay that I wanted to go over with you guys. I mean, I was a little bit, you know, over-strengthed or whatever, Sloth. But, you know, nothing too dumb. Then I, you know, went... Fuck, I don't know why this one's so many. Oh, he was attacking me a ton, I think. Here's Dark Souls. So this one's for getting Death Star. I didn't have, you know, my Sloth yet, but it didn't really matter. As you can see, I'm running Enchanter. So a really cool and important thing is you silence right before Death Star proc, so then he doesn't give everybody that shield, and that also stops Gigatron from proccing, as you kind of just like slam down on them. You know, the detonate happened, whatever, no big deal. But you need Ultimus to basically go off and make sure that they don't get any procs off, right? You want that Turner to remove the Death Star from proccing, and then you just sit there, and, you know, you slowly beat him down and pray that you can, you know, kill him. And then, yeah, smite. Smite to kill him. Wasn't too hard, I know. I know I had 2 births and all, you know, an all team like this, but Enchanter, I mean, you can do with Daylight, or, I mean, Virtue, which you'll need for Daylight anyways, so you don't have to worry about that too much. As you can see, still rank 4. This was basically the same day. I beat both of them. They weren't too bad. Yeah, other than that, we can continue on our journey throughout, I guess, the last week or so since I made a video. Or I guess it's been almost 2 weeks. Let's look at Perseus, Slay the Dragon. You can see what my level was when I did these, so, you know, I wasn't like too overpowered. Crossfade, crossfade, crossfade. Yeah, there's just a bajillion of this guy attacking. So yeah, after that, after Dark Souls, we've got Ground Beef, Stranger Danger. I think this is the one with Detonate. So this is, you know, number 4, I think. Basically, use Death Star to give yourself damage resist and haki, and then you let Ultimus basically proc a bajillion times. It's not too bad. Lots of tanks for haki. And you just sit there, you know, I mean, it's more than possible that you could use other people for it. Really, I would use detonate on like all your DPS, and I'm sure you could cheese it like that. For the 6th one, you'll need somebody who reduces their attack if you want to do it at a low level, like Jan Snow. But yeah, other than that, let's go for the next one. Silence of the Lambs, let's see, Silver Roses, Ultimus Pride, Hockey, Super Hammer Bros. The King's Dinner is 140, so that's coming up soon. Stranger Danger, Jesus, Batman, Perseus, Full Bronze Alchemist, let's see, there's Stranger Danger, there we go. So, as you can see here, you silence. You basically want Armstrong here. He's important. This is before I had Sloth, so I was mutating up evoing up an Armstrong. You want to kill everything except for the BMO, right? You can get away with, other things alive, but that's the main point, right? The bottom line is, with Enchanter you can deal with 2, but usually you want just 1. And then you just sit there and knock him back. And this is how you do it for all the way up, right? Not so bad. And it just takes forever, but you sit here and you kill him. He's going to revive or whatever. Or I think, and then you're going to have to do it again. And when it hits danger, it's gonna kill him. So I guess that's how you do that one. If you have an enchanter that like hits all of them, I'm sure with a high level Kieran you could probably like just do it with Sloth and enchanter. It wouldn't be too bad. But yeah. What's next? I'm just gonna be going over a ton of these. Let's see. Molten Peak, Cardinal Sin. So that was that. Rolling Stones. I guess if you guys really want to see that, Stranger Danger, Rolling Stones. Was a little bit tough. Actually, I had some fairly difficulties with it. Sloth is really good on this, but basically you want to silence before the 4-second so that they don't get their proc off, and then you just kind of corner them and beat them down. They do a lot of damage, and you have to be really careful to position your ultimate so he doesn't get hit with any of their ranged things, but otherwise it's not too bad. And then you just sit there, silence him down, use your ranged. Enchanter was alright. I wish I had pulled a Virtue instead, but you make do with what you get, luck and everything. Next is, I think, Perseus. So Perseus and the other guy, Batman, are pretty difficult. Even up to 6, I have other videos specifically for those, but this one's kind of a catch-all for the early game because they don't really matter so much. It's all about momentum, really. The faster you level up, the faster you beat these harder stages, which increase your output kind of thing. Slay the Dragon. I don't know if I beat this one on this time, but yeah. See, you just kind of corner them, silence them before his 3rd attack so he doesn't lightning strike you, and then you slowly beat him down. You don't want Virtue to proc, I mean he can, but he doesn't do a ton of damage. And then you sit there and beat the shit out of him. Oh wow, somebody pulled a wingman because I told them good luck. Anyways, yeah, so that's, that. You can see Ultimus is basically carrying you through all these early stages. So don't waste your time with the other ancients early game. Late game, the diversity is huge. Like almost every single ancient sees use. So, you know, it's not too bad. Next is, I think, Batman, no, Perseus. Full Bronze Alchemist, okay, and then Perseus. So, as you can see, I think this is Full Bronze Alchemist's 3 or 4. People say don't farm it. I mean, if you have the stamina, go ahead. If you don't want to waste the 50 stamina, use that on Sloth and Death Star stage instead, because those are much more important than rolling more Bizu. So that's up to you. But I mean, I like doing these regardless. They're just kind of alright. They're not hard. You basically just need to be able to tank them while dealing enough damage. So that's not a big deal. What's next? Oh yeah, next is, what's his name? Perseus. He's good. So Perseus does less damage than Batman. That's their difference, I guess. He heals by himself. So, yeah, I'm sure you can win against him. You just have to kind of silence them right before Medusa procs. So as you can see, she procs on the 4-second. So you wanna get rid of that, and you want to Genbu level 2 to cleanse her slow. As you can see, you're gonna get slowed down, and you don't want that to happen. From there, you sit there and you kind of grind them down. It's not too bad. Fucking hate Medusa when you're an Ultimus user. She does the most damage as well, so you just have to be really careful of her. The Genbu really helps. Yeah, so next, I guess, will be Batman. You want to keep Perseus down and burst him or silence him so he can't heal over time. Batman's the opposite. You want to keep him far back and you want to just grind him down from far away, because as long as he can't hit you, he can't win. So I guess that's the difference there. Molten Peak, Behemoths, Batman. Yeah, that was Batman. So Batman's basically the same thing. If you can beat one, you can usually beat the other if you change your compound around a little. As you can see, at 3 seconds, I stop them from casting. Then right away, I increase my damage because I needed to kill the backline, and that was the only way I was going to do it. So that's the difference. And then I healed and basically out-sustained their damage. The Yami was there just for the burst, the AoE burst. It didn't really do a ton of damage, but it helped kill, these backliners more like. As you can see, Batman does a lot more damage than Perseus. Not too terrible, It took a lot of tries. Those are, a lot of trial and error, and really, if you're losing fast, then make yourself more tanky. If you can't corner them, add hockey. It's just a basic, puzzle with solution kind of deal. Sometimes you will need more power, but power's not really that important. Next, I think, is Behemoths. Yeah, so Behemoths, this one, kind of tough. Just use a lot of knockback, and then you'll be fine, right? Use hockey. This guy's got a bunch of hockey on all of my fights, and so does this guy. They're both pure tanks with hockey, and then he's your DPS. You just kind of try to corner them, try to silence them, and keep them slowed. That's why I'm using Kieran, because he's great for PvE and slowing down the enemy, and you just kind of sit there and beat them down. You use Berserk on these two, as you can see, when they die, so they do more damage. Nothing too crazy. You can cheese this at much lower, stats. It just took me forever to get around to it. But yeah, so that's basically that. Behemoths wasn't too difficult. On Elite, they're a little bit tougher. But let's go to, let's see, Seiryu, Haki, King's Dinner. We're almost there. Really, there's a few tough ones in there. Molten Peak. Oh, I guess these are two different ones. Well, we can watch this. So this is Molten Peak, you know. You see that Smog took 1 hit, 2 hits, now you silence right before the 3rd hit. So that Smog can't go off and reduce your healing on your Ultimus. So that when you use the Suzaku, right, your Ultimus isn't fucked. And then you just sit there and grind them down. That's, you know, a very common trick. You just want to silence right before they proc. And then, you know that your Gigatron's gonna die, so you use Berserk and give yourself that last little boost at the end. You know, this damage is important, even just the slow. But yeah, from then on, it's not a huge deal. You know, going on to the next stage, we're basically running through the end game of the first half, before elite stages. Where's Molten Peak? Yeah, so this one really was actually pretty tough. He's got a lot of haki, and you need to hit their backlines kind of thing. They're just gonna like slice you down. You have to silence right at the right time so that they don't get, you know, the activation. So as you can see, you just have to tank it out until you can silence them. Then you basically try to crush their backline. You have to watch out. He's got some haki, but that's what Turner's for, to reduce his haki. You know, pretty basic stuff. He goes off, hurts a lot, but it's okay because they're basically all dead. You know, with Sloth, these stages are easier, but I just didn't have the rolls to do it. So, yeah, I mean, I had Death Star pretty early, but the rest I couldn't really make for a while. Next is, let's see. Next should be King's Dinner soon. Temptation, Stranger Dangers. This is the next Stranger Danger, which is basically the same as the previous one. As you can see, you just knock them back. You're a little bit stronger, so you can kill their frontliners, or all their other dudes, you know, before it's too late. And then once everybody else is dead, it's, you know, it's history. You just use these two and then you win, because Kieran will slow him down and you just kind of grind him down. So there's no point in wasting a ton of time on that. But otherwise, you know, Temptation. So Temptation and Catharexis Green or whatever, those are important. Those are your spores. Let's see. So Temptation, not too difficult. I think I missed the other one, but basically silence them. The back two have Sanctity, so you need to make sure that you hit the correct one with your silences. As you can see, I have Sloth at this point, but you see that the Ultimus is the one silenced, and then you just sit there and grind them down. I think at this point I had a Leech 5, which is what made it so easy. I used my arena credits to get that. But otherwise, you know, your arena credits just save them up. They're not really that useful, except for you getting shards trying the events, which totally did come back. So nobody believed me when I said they would come back, but they did. So then I got I finished a midnight like in 2 seconds on my main. So yeah, that's Temptation. Next is the King's Dinner. So King's Dinner was pretty tough. Most people can cheese it with a Ruin, but I don't have a Ruin, so if you don't have Reflect, you know, you get your Ultimus to tank the first hit on the cannon, then you silence right away before he gets his 3rd hit off, so he doesn't, you know, do this debuff. You detonate to kill the Charlie and their other stuff, then you just sit there and try to out-tank him. Use a lot of haki on this guy. You use, Reflect to blow this guy up, then use Sloth reflect at 17 seconds or whatever, so you can get rid of the cannon on his third shot, which does a lot of damage. And then you basically just, you know, dump a ton of survivability on this guy with haki, and you pray that you can kill him. He's got Sanctity, so it just takes fucking forever. And over time, you'll slowly deal a little bit more damage than his stupid regen. And you just sit there and heal and heal and heal until eventually you get to the end. And he dies. The reason why you use this guy is because he lowers your haki. And he's pretty fair on damage. I mean, I could use enchant or something, but you want the silence for daylight. The only reason why I won this was because I silenced daylight earlier. And yeah, so you just sit there and you beat on him and you beat on him. He might, you know, sanctity it all, but slowly he's losing until finally he dies. If you want to cheese this with faster, I guess, with lower power and without all these births, you'll need a ruin, because then you can reflect this and that, basically these two guys. This guy increases everybody's attack, so you want him dead pretty soon as well. And then you want to silence the daylight using high haki to knock him back, so you can just range silence. And then, you know, slowly he'll die, you'll get to danger, and then it'll just, like, you know, kill him. There you go. So that's 140. Not too difficult. It took a while for me too, but like, it's all about time, and if you don't have 1700 gems, then there's no point in doing it, because you almost have to get those deals. They're just so worth it in terms of time. So yeah, that's always good. Otherwise, you know, so that's 140. I spent some time just kind of farming for a few more days after that. As you can see, I did it at level 50, so that was, what, like about 25k power-ish is where I'm sitting. As you can see, these are pretty, you know, pretty hard elite stages, but I didn't even need to, you know, fully glyph my Armstrong. It wasn't really that important. You know, elite stages are all about cheesing, or at least finding the combination. They're more about team comp than about power. There's some Chinese videos online that are pretty crazy of people like doing it. This guy is bullshit, so he'll be really tough, but he teaches you an important lesson on how to win elite stages, and it's basically you have to cheese them. A lot of elite stages require an Armstrong, right? So that you can just keep knocking them back and slowly grinding them down, along with Sloth and Kieran. It's basically the only way. Unless you completely overpower them with like a snipe comp or like some reflect, but it's pretty rare to see that kind of thing. So you just kind of beat them down, as you can see. Over time, all your dudes are kind of useful. Even the births that you use, like Corruptor, is super important for doing Elite Stage 134, if you can get them really strong. Otherwise, you know, oh my god, my friend's messaging me. Won't shut up about Burger King. Let's see. Whoppers and McFlurries. Yeah, this is the Elite Bruce, I guess. This is important. Elite Bruce is a little bit tough. I think I used my Kieran here, but maybe I didn't. You just needed to basically out-tank these first guys without your Ultimus dying. Your Ultimus almost dies, and then you just silence. Yeah, so I healed, and then I silenced right away, because they use their Astra right before they basically Thundershock, and you're fucked if you don't silence them, because it'll just wipe out your backline. And you just sit there and you grind them down. After they, you know, come back, you wanna silence them again and again. As you can see, with only 2 of them alive, it's not so bad. I smited one of them and then just beat the shit out of them again. It's not too bad. As you can see, Steve did the most damage. But Ultimus is basically your carry through the early game because he does so much damage and it's AoE and it's, you know, free basically as your Ancient. And yeah, you know, this is just kind of like an update. You know, how to get through those harder stages. My glyphs are basically Leech, sometimes Berserk, Detonate, you know, whatever you need for that fight. This one, you know, Daylight, 3 Constitution. I guess I can go over their builds. They don't really change. So Power, Vigor, Leech. The reason for Vigor is that most fights don't last more than 30 seconds. If they go past 30 seconds, Shelter's better, but otherwise it's not. And this rings true. If you look at this, 1080 con versus 216, it would take 50 times activating Shelter to beat Vigor, because this is times 10, right? So that's how you kind of math it out. So 216 divided by 10,800, or I guess this divided by that, and you would come out to a number. That's how many hits it takes to, it's around 50. That's how many hits it would take to make Shelter better than Vigor. Now, late game, against, you know, people like Byakko or Midnight or Vulcan, you would use, you know, this to stop their small ticks of damage, but right away, like in the early game, Constitution is just better. As you can see, I'm just using power, and ferocity. Nothing too special. In PvP, you could use Sanctity if you really care about that, but it's not that important. What's more important in PvP is Sanctity on your Daylight and your Death Star. And you want good hockey on them too. So this guy, you know, you just sit there and you heal. You want to max out your skills, obviously, because that's so important. You basically have to max these out. So get that up as soon as possible. You know, this is just, you know, your skills. You don't actually have to use or max anything out on these guys. Once you get an Assassin, you want to max out all 3. But, I mean, don't waste your purples because they're pretty rare. As you can see, I'm just saving them for later. Even though I have an Enchanter, I'm saving the Shinigami. On this guy, I guess you want to max this one for sure. Don't worry about this one, it's not that important. It just does, you know, a little bit of damage. You know, your level 1's very important on all your births. Your level 2's very important on all your births. Your level 3 is not so important, your level 4 is not so important. On Vulcan, in order for Vulcan to be super useful and overpowered, you need your 1 and 2 for sure maxed. Then for him to carry over to, like, being better than, like, let's say even a Turner, you'll need this one maxed, Falcon Punch Endure, so that you get 50% damage resist, and you'll want his Awaken. And his Awaken will give him basically a free leech, right? So then you can just punch people. But yeah, Enchanter, you know, you saw I was using Enchanter, just power, and ferocity, nothing too crazy. For a while I was running Revive on him, that's fine. But otherwise, you know, that's pretty stable and normal. I'm using Kieran for the early game. I mean, he's okay late game. I would rather use Genbu later, but currently, PvP doesn't matter nearly as much now as it does later. Just because, you know, skirmish is much more important later and stuff like that. You know, I do have the skin for him, right? We won by about 2 points, beating other people, so I do have the skin. I just don't use it because I want to fool people into thinking I'm a noob. You know, that's pretty normal. On top of, you know, all my units are basically useful. I don't make anything that's trash. I rolled a second Turner at one point, and yeah, I rolled most of these during my level 55. I think I rolled like these 5 or something. It was crazy. A really good level 55 roll. But, I mean, you don't need to roll them to do well. I still don't use my Vulcan. And then on these other 2, I don't even use them anymore. It's all about this, pretty much. This is a pretty staple build. And yeah, so I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys are, you know, find the update useful. And I hope, you know, you guys can take something away from this and see that, like, it's not that important to, you know, pay to win, so to speak. You can do very well by yourself by just, you know, being careful, not wasting, and, you know, it's very important to consider how many gems you have at your disposal before spending them. So, wasting your, you know, protecting your, I guess, I have 3k gems right now. I'm not going to use them on something until I see something worth it. Even the gold deals I haven't been getting. I'm saving those gems, specifically the ones that I have, for another dealer refresh, so I can get more Lacrima, or when I roll level 9 on Kieran. So when you roll level 9 and you get that, you get a deal for 750 spores for 2200, which is totally worth it, like super worth it. So definitely save up for that, get there, and then, you know, that will accelerate you quite a bit. So, yeah. I hope you guys find some good use out of this, and make sure to comment down below. And if you want, you can subscribe. I try to put out quality content instead of, you know, a lot of it, because, I mean, I think your time is valuable, and so is mine. So, yeah. Make sure you do your daily quests. You can miss one quest day, like about 6 of them, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You can miss 1 day's worth of quests, and still get this final prize. And it's definitely worth it. I mean, that's worth what, like 3,000 gems total? Maybe even more for all of this total. And yeah, I'll be sure to put out a video on gaining power soon, probably today or tomorrow. But yeah, have a great day. See ya.